It's midnight and you're tuning in to Nightline with me, Nurin Razmyn. The top stories. Prime Minister says the US agrees to hold advanced talks on reciprocal tariffs. And former senior executive remanded over false claims in 1.3 billion ringgit highway project. Good morning. The United States has agreed to hold advanced talks regarding the 24% retaliatory tariff imposed on Malaysia. At Monday's special Dewan Rakyat sitting on the US tariffs, Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim views the decision as a sign that the US may consider reducing the tariff.
Kita alu-alukan pengakuan dan kerjasama Amerika Syarikat untuk berunding lebih lanjut dengan Malaysia. Dan terdapat kemungkinan setakat ini untuk mengurangkan tarif timbal balik yang dikenakan.
At the sitting, Anwar gave a briefing on the issue of high tariffs imposed on more than 180 countries, including Malaysia. The Prime Minister also emphasized that key national policies, including those related to Bumiputra interests and the country's strategic sectors, will be firmly upheld in the negotiations.
Ingin saya tegaskan, beberapa dasar utama negara, dasar Bumiputra, keperluan vendor tempatan, perlindungan sektor strategik tidak akan dirubah dalam semua rundingan ini. Ini kerana sementara kita mahu mengikut agenda perdagangan bebas, kita tidak boleh mengelak daripada melihat kepada kepentingan, keselamatan dan kepentingan strategik negara.
Malaysia is among the first 18 countries to successfully hold negotiations with the US to address the matter. The reciprocal tariff issue underscores the urgency for Malaysia to diversify its trade and export partnerships, not just to reduce its reliance on the US, but also to rebalance its exposure to any single trading partner, including China. On this note, Bank Muamalat Chief Economist Muhammad Afzanizan Abdul Rashid says Putrajaya is on the right path.
The session was meant to deliberate the government stance and the action plans going forward, and this will actually help to build more confidence among the investors, businesses, and also the general public. So, in a nutshell, I think it's a timely move. It's the right move, and perhaps there will be more details further will be deliberated by the various ministries, I suppose, which can help to navigate our economy during these trying times.
In a bid to reduce reliance on any single major partner, Putrajaya is actively exploring new trade markets. Anwar, who is also the finance minister, said the effort was initiated by his administration over the past year through ASEAN and engagements with key leaders from the Gulf countries, China and BRICS.
Yang alhamdulillah bermakna kerana tidak hanya bergantung kepada satu pasaran besar. Dalam beberapa tahun ini kita telah secara agresif membuka ruang perdagangan baru, menjelajah ke seluruh dunia, mencari rakan dagang baru, termasuk GCC negara Teluk yang alhamdulillah akan hadir dalam persidangan akhir tahun ini dengan negara China, Jepun, Korea dan lain-lain. Dan BRICS, kita juga menekankan tentang keperluan meningkatkan intra-ASEAN trade. Peningkatannya itu tidak terlalu melonjak tinggi, 4.2%, dan kepada Kesatuan Eropah EU meningkat kepada 26%.
He added that the decision by the US, one of Malaysia's largest trading partners, to impose tariffs has significantly affected Malaysia's export performance and, in turn, its GDP growth. He said the government views the U.S. tariffs as a serious matter, as not only is the country a major export destination, but also Malaysia's largest source of foreign direct investments.
Kita berpendirian untuk meneruskan perbincangan secara pragmatik dan berteraskan kepentingan negara di samping mengekalkan hubungan baik dengan semua rakan dagang Malaysia.
Anwar also said the government will allocate an additional 50 million ringgit to the Malaysia External Trade Development Cooperation (MATRADE) to expedite efforts to explore new markets. Looking for new and friendly trading partners could also mean renewed interest in existing frameworks. At the same time, economist Jeffrey Williams said Malaysia can explore all options to deepen its trade ties far beyond its traditional partners.
First, you have to identify countries that are potential trade partners. Then you have to identify customers in those countries where you can sell your products. And then you have to build a supply chain infrastructure to make sure that you can send your products there. And all of that takes a little bit of time. It's not a short-term response. But there are many areas where Malaysia can find new trading partners in traditional areas such as ASEAN or in APEC, around the Asia-Pacific region, but also under the new trading arrangements, the RCEP, or the CPTPP, as well, of course, as the OIC, the Organization for Islamic Countries, where there is a very big market for halal products, and Malaysia's halal industry is now making record exports, and there's been a big increase in halal exports, and that's going to continue in the future. So Malaysia is in a very good place when it comes to finding new markets, and it's very good that the Prime Minister will be providing a little bit more money to help Malaysian companies go to trade expos and trade conferences and trade meetings in order to find new customers.
And amid U.S. trade pressure, the Prime Minister announced the launch of a 1 billion ringgit financial lifeline to support small and medium-sized enterprises, SMEs. Announcing this at Monday's special parliamentary sitting, Anwar said further measures include an additional 500 million ringgit in soft financing through financial development institutions.
Kerajaan turut bersetuju menambah dana pembiayaan mudah sebanyak 500 juta ringgit melalui institusi pembangunan keuangan untuk manfaat usahawan PKS yang terjejas. Dan ini akan kita pantau khususnya dengan syarikat-syarikat PKS.
Malaysia's trade with the U.S. primarily involved sectors such as energy, chemicals, food, logistics, and high technology. In thanking the Prime Minister, the Small and Medium Enterprise SME Association of Malaysia said the financial assistance, as announced by Anwar, is a timely move, which will definitely help SMEs in the country.
So this is something that we look forward for. And Suri, as from SME Association Malaysia, we'd like to thank the government, the PMX, for even consider our suggestion, not only in the loan financing side. I can see also from the announcement that the PMX has made, it has also allocated additional 50 million to MATRADE to promote Malaysian SME product towards few other regions, such as the Southeast Asia, the Middle East, the BRICS country, etc., etc. This is something that we look forward for. Because if we're going to lose the US market and we're going to gain another market in a mid longer term, I would say that this will not take so fast, but it will definitely help us because the SME needs some cushion, right? And with the help of the so-called the MATRADE, we could quickly roll out or find a new market for our product to go there.
A former senior financial executive of a construction firm has been remanded for 5 days over false claims amounting to 416 million ringgit. The case involves funds from a 1.3 billion ringgit sukuk issuance allocated for an 18-kilometer highway extension project in the Klang Valley. The remand order was issued by Pujajaya Court Assistant Registrar Siti Roslitawati Muhammad Zanin, another man, the owner of the subcontractor company involved in the same project, who was previously released after being questioned, has been rearrested by the MACC over a separate allegation of submitting false claims and placed under a 2-day remand. Both suspects are being investigated under Section 18 of the MACC Act, which pertains to the submission of fraudulent claims with intent to deceive. The case follows a series of recent arrests involving 4 individuals, including one with the title Datuk Seri, who were remanded over 360 million ringgit in similar claims allegedly made between 2016 and 2017. Malaysia's economy is expected to remain resilient and outperform its A-rated peers despite mounting global uncertainties driven by trade tensions. According to Moody's, while global growth is likely to slow, Malaysia's diversified economy, competitive edge and policy credibility will help cushion the impact. At the same time, Malaysia stands to benefit from shifts in foreign direct investment as companies adjust to new global trade patterns. Potentially, Malaysia is one of the economies that could attract more investment given its relatively low tariff rates compared to other countries in the region. Despite high debt levels and a narrow tax base limiting fiscal flexibility, Moody's noted that Malaysia's inflation has remained contained, allowing room for monetary easing if necessary. The Monetary Policy Committee, MPC, expects Bank Negara Malaysia, BNM, to reduce the overnight policy rate, OPR, from 3% to 2.75% during its meeting this Thursday. Bank Muamalat Malaysia Berhad Chief Economist Dr. Muhammad Afzanizam Abdul Rashid said the estimation is made based on the reciprocal tariffs imposed by the United States recently. He said when the OPR is reduced, it will provide an economic boost, particularly to domestic demand, consumption and investment. The Malaysian economy is very open in terms of international trade and foreign portfolio investment, FPI, as well as foreign direct investment, FDI. He said, therefore, the tariff situation will have a negative impact, especially on the country's export sector to the US, which is one of Malaysia's main trading partners. The Bank of Thailand is among the central banks that have recently cut their key in interest rate from 2% to 2.75%. Foreign investors continued their streak of net inflows on Bersa Malaysia, extending their buying trend to 2 consecutive weeks with 853.8 million ringgit of net inflows. According to MIDF Amanah Investment Bank, foreign investors were net buyers on every trading day, ranging between 50 to 340 million ringgit. The 3 sectors that recorded the highest net foreign inflows were financial services, healthcare, and industrial products and services. Meanwhile, local institutions extended their net selling streak to 2 consecutive weeks, with outflows amounting to 692 million ringgit. MIDF said local retail investors extended their net selling trend to 3 weeks, with an outflow of 161 million ringgit, almost 2.5 times more than the previous week's outflow. The Indonesian government on Monday set an ambitious target to boost economic growth to 6.3% by 2026. According to officials, the goal is part of the 2026 government work plan, which also aims to increase gross national income per capita to $5,870 and reduce the poverty rate to between 6.5 and 7.5%. The announcement also comes as the country grapples with its lowest economic expansion in over 3 years. Official data showed that Indonesia's economy grew by 4.87% year-on-year in the first quarter of 2025, down from 5.02% in the previous quarter. The slowdown is attributed to weakening household spending, sluggish investment growth, and a contraction in government expenditure. East Coast drug syndicate busted in 25 million ringgit seizure. This and more on the local front right after this breather.
Aku bekerja dengan company. Company nak aku jaga kampung ni. Selamat datang ke kampung Ketayang. Ada kau batas?
Awak ni perikal ke?
Dialah satu-satunya harapan kita sekarang.
Company akan ambil alih perniagaan biji timah.
Dia nak suruh kami semua lawan askar Belanda ke?
Bukan askar Belanda, tapi 6 jilaka.
Pisang emas diiktiraf sebagai pisang terbaik 2025. Saiznya comel, rasa manis. Ia membawa nama Malaysia ke persada dunia.
Kes pelajar terkena penyakit bawaan air selepas perkemahan di sungai. Cakna kebersihan kawasan riadah anda.
Angkara AI remaja reka video lucah jadikan rakan sebagai mangsa. AI teknologi maju tetapi disalahguna.
Obses barangan berjenama tapi nak harga murah. Adakah harga menjejaskan kualiti dan keselamatan? Isnin hingga Jumaat jam 10 pagi juga stream ditonton.
Hanya di TV3.
Serabutlah dengan Khalif ni, Mami. Dia ugut dia tahu tak?
Dia ugut dia apa?
Kenapa sampai sekarang kau masih nak jumpa isteri aku?
Kau betul-betul tak kenal siapa Nur Haisi, Nazim.
Abang ni dah penat dengar saya kesian dekat di, kesian dekat di, kesian dekat di. Abang dah ikut apa yang saya nak kan?
Haizi, I dah buat keputusan. I dah nak kahwin dengan Nazim.
Calon isteri buat suami, Isnin hingga Jumaat 7 malam di Akasia TV3.
Welcome back. Police have busted what is believed to be the largest international drug trafficking syndicate operating along the East Coast this year, following 2 separate raids on April 23rd. This latest operation comes just a day after Home Minister Datuk Seri Saifuddin Nasution Ismail acknowledged a concerning spike in drug trafficking and abuse along the East Coast, particularly in Kelantan. The minister said syndicates had been taking advantage of porous borders and maritime routes, prompting intensified enforcement in the region. The first raid in Terengganu, carried out by the Narcotics Criminal Investigation Department in Sungai Setio at around 9 p.m, led to the seizure of nearly 600 kilograms of drugs worth an estimated 25 million ringgit. Among the seized substances were over 479 kilograms of methamphetamine and nearly 110 kilograms of heroin. 2 local men, aged 32 and 39, believed to be members of the syndicate, were arrested during the operation. Investigations revealed the syndicate had been operating since early March, using rented fishing boats to smuggle the drugs into Malaysian waters, with plans to later export them to Australia.
Dadah ini masuk melalui Golden Triangle dan mereka membawa masuk menggunakan kapal nelayan yang besar dan melalui perairan Malaysia, yang mana mereka menggunakan kapal dari negara Vietnam.
Urine tests on both suspects returned negative for drug use. However, background checks showed one of the men had 2 prior criminal records, including one related to narcotics. Authorities also seized 4 vehicles, jewelry, and a sum of cash during the raids. Both suspects have been remanded for 14 days to assist investigations under the Dangerous Drugs Act. In Malacca, the Malaysian Maritime Enforcement Agency, MMEA, foiled an attempt to smuggle synthetic drugs base worth 1.15 million ringgit out of the country. MMEA Acting Deputy Director General of Operations, Maritime Rear Admiral Muhammad Zawawi Abdullah, said it was the largest seizure of its kind ever made by any enforcement agency.
Jadi ini adalah merupakan kali pertama dalam bentuk cecair yang mana seperti saya maklumkan tadi, ini akan digunakan untuk penghasilan dadah sintetik dalam pelbagai jenis.
Last Thursday, MMEA officers discovered 15 boxes wrapped in black plastic along the shore of Pengkalan Balak Beach in Alor Gajah. The boxes were stacked by the seashore and is believed that smugglers plan to pick them up by boat. The drug base can be used in vape devices and is believed to have been sold as vape liquid in Malaysia. The case is being investigated under the Dangerous Drugs Act. 2 policemen have been remanded for 7 days on suspicion of soliciting and accepting bribes of up to 5,000 ringgit to cover up gambling and drug activities. The remand order against the duo, who worked at a district police headquarters in Terengganu, was issued by the Kuala Terengganu Magistrates Court. Initial investigations found that the first suspect, in his 50s, is believed to have solicited and accepted a bribe of 3,000 ringgit from an individual around August last year. The second suspect, in his 40s, was remanded on suspicion of soliciting and accepting a bribe of 2,000 ringgit between December 2022 and May 2023. Both are suspected of receiving bribes in cash and via deposit into their bank accounts. They were detained when they appeared to give their statements at the Terengganu MACC office on Sunday. In Pulau Pinang, 2 motorcyclists were injured in a 14-vehicle collision along kilometer 12 of the Butterworth-Kulim Expressway earlier on Monday morning. The accident triggered a major traffic jam stretching over 7 kilometers. Pulau Pinang Fire and Rescue Department Director Muhammad Shoki Hamzah said firefighters from the Penanti and Kulim fire stations were dispatched to the scene after receiving a distress call at 7:14 a.m. Upon arrival, the rescue team found that 12 cars and 2 motorcycles had been involved in the crash. No victims were trapped, although 2 motorcyclists sustained injuries and were attended to at the scene. Prior to official reports, videos of the congestion caused by the accident had already gone viral on social media. Initial investigations suggest that the crash may have been triggered by a single car which lost control, leading to a chain reaction collision as vehicles behind were unable to brake in time. 2 arrested over plot to bomb concert. The details when Nightline returns.
Kau tak payahlah tolak aku. Kau tak tahu nanti.
Aku tak tolak.
Jan, sampai bila kita nak buat kerja ni?
Boleh kaya ke?
Syah, kalau kaya tu mudah. Dah ramai dah orang kaya, kau tahu.
Nak kerja buat apa? Ni aku nak buka bisnes kopi untuk kita ni.
Bisnes kopi?
Konsep bisnes kita ni mewah. Biji kopi tu sini kena rare.
Wow, kopi dia memang kau, guys.
Aku ada allergic peanut butter, faham?
Aku tu fikir apa kerja yang kita buat sekarang ni semua perangkap tu.
Kita kerja ke mana pun sama aja. Yang lainnya orang keliling kita.
Hidup you banyak tentangan bukan sebab nasib you kurang baik. Tapi perangai you macam...
Kopi, kafe ni bukan dunia aku dan bukan dunia kau juga. Encik Azmi kan salah. Tapi kau tetap nak kejar kat cita-cita kau tu. Kau kejar.
Korang tak namakan lagi
Aku dah dapat idea dah ni. Nama kita...
Kenal kan? Orang baru aku.
Orang ada sebab kena buat macam ni. Baklah punya mak jangan datang kelab
Dia tak akan dapat lari daripada aku. Serahkan Balkis pada aku akan lepaskan kau.
Aku minta maaf. Dah terlambat.
Aku nak bunuh adik kau depan mata kau sendiri.
Jangan! Hafiz!
Dari rahim yang sama, Minggu akhir, Isnin hingga Rabu, 10 malam, di Samarinda TV3 dan stream sekarang melalui Tonton.
Bapak sayang Sira. Cuma Sira tu je yang tak sayang bapak. Pergi tolong orang luar pula.
Bukan aku tak tahu. Kamu tu pengecut.
Tok biarkan anak isteri saya ikut jantan lain.
Dah bercerai. Tak payahlah bergaduh macam laki bini.
Dia orang ni dah lama rancang. Kita yang lalai.
Rumah tangga kalau tak percaya, macam mana?
Kau belum kenal aku siapa.
Tak nak aku kenal kau.
On to the foreign front. Brazilian police have arrested 2 people in connection with an alleged plot to detonate explosives at a Lady Gaga concert in Rio de Janeiro that drew more than 2 million people. The civil police of Rio de Janeiro on Sunday said it thwarted the bomb attack that had been planned for Saturday's concert by the suspects who had intended to use improvised explosives and Molotov cocktails. Authorities arrested the group's alleged leader in Rio Grande do Sul for illegal firearm possession and detained a teenager in Rio de Janeiro on related charges. Despite the threat, the concert continued without disruption with enhanced security measures, including metal detectors, drone and facial recognition cameras. In the meantime, investigation continues, with authorities emphasizing the importance of vigilance against such attacks. Chinese authorities on Monday said at least 10 people were killed and 70 others injured after 4 boats capsized on the Wu River near Shanxi City. The incident on Sunday occurred during rain and hailstorm that struck the popular tourist waterway. More than 80 people were thrown into the river, with rescue operations running through the night. According to officials, the vessels were not overloaded, each carrying well below their 40-passenger capacity. Meanwhile, President Xi Jinping has called for all-out efforts in rescue and recovery and urged for tighter safety measures at tourist destinations following a string of recent fatal incidents. U.S. President Donald Trump has directed officials to rebuild and reopen the notorious federal jail, Alcatraz prison, that shut 6 decades ago. In a message on social media on Sunday, Trump said the U.S. has been plagued by vicious, violent and repeat criminal offenders, and that reopening Alcatraz, which was once notorious as one of America's toughest prison, will serve as a symbol of law, order and justice, housing America's most ruthless and violent offenders. Leading Democrats, however, said the proposal was not a serious one. The maximum security facility, also known as the Rock, was closed in 1963 due to high operating costs and now operates as a successful tourist site. Israeli officials on Monday approved plans to expand its military offensive in Gaza and take control of humanitarian and aid deliveries. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's security cabinet backed a proposal to allow the army to oversee food and aid for Gaza's 2.3 million residents. Reports suggested that the plan could lead to the full occupation of the enclave, as sources said that Israel intends to conquer and hold Gaza. The Israeli government also plans to involve international organizations and private contractors in aid distribution, with Israeli forces providing outer security. The move comes weeks after Israel blocked all aid to the region before resuming its military campaign. Switching to sports golf, the 2025 Reliance Matrix Championships in Las Vegas, USA. National #1 women's golfer Ashley Lau ended a frustrating run on the Epson Tour with a much-needed season-best joint third-place finish on Sunday. The 25-year-old carded rounds of 67, 72, 69 and 70 to finish on a 10-under par 278 total, 7 shots behind American winner Yana Wilson, who clinched victory by 2 strokes over China's Du Mohan. Ashley shared third place with Thailand's Napat Lutsatwatana, with both earning $15,607 in prize money. The result is a timely morale booster for Ashley, who had been unable to build on her promising tied 9th finish at the season-opening Central Florida Championship in February. Another national golfer, Kelly Tan, finished in 60th place with a total score of 294, 6 over par. On to football. The International Federation of Association Football, FIFA, on Monday slapped transfer bans on 9 Malaysian clubs, including Super League outfits Terengganu FC and Kelantan Darul Naim FC, over what is believed to be unresolved financial disputes and regulatory breaches. Details on the ban, which runs for 3 years, did not state how much needs to be cleared for the ban to be lifted. The 7 other Malaysian clubs listed in FIFA's registration ban database are Kelantan FC, Kelantan FA, PT Athletic FC, Sarawak United, Perlis FA, Melaka United FC and Melaka United. Perlis remain one of the longest suspended teams, having been banned since September 2020 and again in June 2021, with sanctions still in place. The transfer ban is also set to make things difficult for Terengganu, potentially derailing their preparations for the 2025-2026 M-League season. Over 60 clubs across Asia are also facing similar bans, including those in Saudi Arabia, China, Iran, Indonesia, Thailand and South Korea. And that concludes Nightline this time around. Before we leave, let's take a look as lifelike replicas of Formula One cars made out of nearly 400,000 Lego bricks take center stage in the Czech Republic. With that, I'm Nurin Razmyn. Thank you for watching and stay safe.